Hello Azerothians! It has become apparent to me that one video a week is a little too much for me, so I will be aiming for at least one every 2 weeks. I am working on doing the Dark Spiritual Paladins, but I need to be exalted to get the questline I am looking for, which is proving to be more time consuming than I thought. So let's switch back to the Alliance for a moment and take a look at the Draenei. Draenei are centered around the light and magic based on their close connection to the Naru. So how can we work these beautiful space goats into Druids, the only non-hero class they are missing? I think the answer lies in Farseer Nobundo and the Broken of Outland, as well as the close partnership they developed with the Night Elves. The Draenei have a rich history, from abandoning their home planet when Sargeras corrupted Archimonde and killed Jaden, to living with the orcs on Draenor in tentative peace until the Burning Legion once again arrived, to crash landing south of Teldrassil and establishing themselves as members of the Alliance. They were a driving force behind the opening of the Dark Portal to return to Outland and stop the Burning Legion forces there. During the fall of Shattrath City, Nobundo was affected by the red mist that the orcs unleashed in their attack. The red mist deformed him and caused him to be unable to access his light-given powers. He made his escape, being rescued by other Draenei who were fleeing, then abandoned and exiled for being twisted by the red mist. This was when the Broken, or Krokul, were formed. Nobundo was haunted by the dead he felt he had abandoned in Shattrath, and would pray for the light to return to him and end his nightmares. Instead, his mountaintop prayers were answered by the wind. He learned then of the powers of the 5 elements and began his training as a shaman in Nagrand. He returned to the Draenei in Telrador, and Velen allowed and encouraged him to share his shamanic teachings with any of the Draenei who would listen. Shamans and Druids are rather close as far as how their magic works. While the shaman deal with the elements of nature, the Druid embodies the living aspects of nature, both through plants and animals. Both classes work with the spirits of nature. The Broken sometimes devolved into what are known as the Lost Ones, which have formed their own tribes. One of which is the Ferelfen tribe, which choose to worship the animal spirits of Outland, mainly bird spirits which could tie into Anzu or Rukmar. There is a quest chain given to players in Telrador that sends you to the Ferelfen tribe, asking them if they would rejoin the Draenei. Elder Karudi refuses, explaining that since the Draenei ignored them in their time of need, they would choose their own fate. Although they refused, I would love to see Blizzard revisit this, having the Ferelfen return to the Draenei and acknowledge the work the Draenei have done to right their wrongs. By doing this, they could also allow players to play as Broken or Lost One Draenei if they wanted to. They could add it to the creation screen like how elf races can be undead elves if they want to be. We could see Nobundo be the one to welcome the Ferelfen Druids into the ranks, at least offering them some sense of comfort as a Broken that lives freely among the Draenei. We can also pull from events during Legion. When the Naru Zer tried to force her prophecy onto Illidan, he dropped everyone's favorite line and destroyed Zera. This caused some of the Draenei to question the light. Even Velen agreed that it was wrong of her to try to convert Illidan by force. This could be a waking point for some of the Draenei, especially shamans, to maybe be less devoted to the light and more willing to embrace other realms of magic, like life and nature magic. Otherwise, I think the closeness of the Draenei and the Night Elves would be a great segue into both Night Elf Shamans and Draenei Druids. The Draenei helped Night Elves during the burning of Teldrassil, offering them refuge from the Horde on Azuremist Isle. And Night Elves were the first point of friendly contact for the Draenei when the Exodar crash-landed on Azuremist. One of the Draenei's first concerns when they gathered their wits was the damage that they had caused to the land. We could see Druids and Shamans working alongside each other to fix this, giving us a reason to revamp Azuremist and give us flying there. Maybe it could be used as a port for traveling west into the Veiled Sea. For their Druid forms, we have a few options we could choose from. I like the idea of doing the same Night Elf forms, especially if they learned Druidism from them, but adding their face tendrils, horns, and smooth skin. I found beautiful fan art of this, and I am obsessed with the way the artist used crystals for their manes. If they learn from the Broken and Lost Ones, I'd love to see their forms take inspiration from the wildlife in Zangarmarsh or even from alternate Draenor. They could have the spore bats of Zangarmarsh as their flight form, and the lake hydras could be a combination of the land and aquatic travel forms. Their moonkin form could be that of an Arakoa since the Lost Ones revered them, and that would give us an alternate to the Zandalari balanced druids. We could make their feral and guardian forms be an outland basilisk, an elk, or even moss-covered bog bears and cats. I am always down for more bog creatures in life. I'm excited to see druids open up 4 more races because I'd love to see the creativity for all of their different forms. It would be really cool to see them expand upon the Moonkin customizations to include all forms and include more prominent options that aren't Night Elf-centric. What are your thoughts on Draenei Druids? Would you prefer to see more bog creatures inspired by Zangarmarsh, or would you prefer the original forms but with a space goat twist? Please comment down below. Anyways, I am going to try shortening my outro because I know a lot of people tend to drop off by the end of the video, so have a great week in Azeroth, farewell, and safe travels.